Check. 1, 2, 1. Ooh, that might be a little too bright. What do we think? Yes? Yes? Huh? I don't know. Check it out. Every time. This is some funky lighting. Okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to Cuppajen. We are on episode 5. I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who's actually been listening to this podcast. It's pretty incredible to see who has all been kind of engaging with what I've been saying. And I'm really grateful to my more than 2 listeners, which is how many people I really thought that I was gonna have listening. So yeah, it's incredible. I'm your host, Janessa Galbraith, if you don't know that already. Today I am having green tea, mint green tea. It's got honey in it. It's really awesome because I feel like my throat has been, I wouldn't say like sore, but when it starts to get to that place where at any minute, if you do anything kind of mean to it, it will just give out on you. That's where I'm at. So, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you will definitely see this, but if you're just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Anchor or any of those wonderful platforms, which you can listen to this on, by the way, if you didn't know, I am drinking out of a cup that says, "I hope that wherever my hair ties go, they are happy." That's like the story of my life, a little bit of disorganized chaos, beauty, hair ties, they're gone. So I'm really grateful for a cup like this that can poke humor at my personality entirely. So cheers, and I hope you're drinking something warm and lovely too. This week the weather here has been strange. We had a huge thunderstorm last week, which really just kind of solidified the end of summer. And the lightning was crazy. Like, it's been a while since I've seen lightning like that happen in my town, and it was really pretty. I personally feel excited by thunderstorms. Obviously, I want everyone to be safe, but I personally feel like it reminds me that I am not in control. And I personally see it as like God being in control and being powerful, and maybe you just see it as the weather, but it just kind of reminds you that actually we're very lucky, we're very blessed to be in a position where we even think we have as much control as we do. Because at any moment a lightning bolt could just, come down, and that could be the end. But here we are, so excited to be alive and living, and yeah, it was really cool to see that storm. And then my favorite part of a storm is if this happens, if it's during the day, is when it's like really rainy and then the sun just peeks through, but it's still raining. Well, that happened the other day, probably a couple days after the thunderstorm, where it was just really hardcore raining. I could still hear some thunder, and then the sun just peeked through. It was so beautiful. Anyway, that's my stuff on the weather. Control. Well, we don't have it. I don't have it anyway. I'd like it. A lot of the times I feel like I want it. It's not something I have. I can't keep track of my freaking hair ties, and I can't keep track of the weather. So that's kind of where we're at with control. Do you ever get the feeling like you're trying so hard to be perfect and it's just not working? I don't think that was ever something that was my priority before. I think I used to be pretty relaxed about who I was, and my personality type was a little bit more type B, a little bit more chill. And just events over the past couple years, as I've kind of grown into adulthood, I've just realized that it's actually getting worse. I want control more often. I want to make things kind of exactly how I see them. And for my benefit, and sometimes the benefit of my friends or my family, I'm just like, I want things to happen in my timing. But as we know, that's not how that works in life. And events this past year have really helped me to see that. I think that when it comes to the artist journey, there's a lot of ups and downs, and we don't have a lot of control, particularly as actors. We have no control over our schedule. I was auditing actually a class last night called the Actors Gym in Vancouver. Highly recommend if you want to take it. It's with Aaron Craven and through Mitch and Murray Productions, but he's great. And one of the things that he said in class one of the things that he said in class that I thought was revelatory of the actor's life is he said, a girl kind of, well, actually, one of the gentlemen in the class said that he had been at a commercial non-union audition for 2 hours, which is a little ridiculous. Like, there isn't really a reason that an audition should be running 2 hours behind. An hour? Maybe. 2 hours? That's kind of disrespectful to everyone's time. Also, they were callback auditions, apparently. So I don't know exactly what happened there. I'm not going to pretend to understand the mind of casting or DPs or whoever's involved that just kind of, that it fell through, that it was 2 hours behind. But, you know, it's really can be quite frustrating for the actors. And so one of the actors was telling him his experience to us. And another one of my friends sort of spoke up and said, well, I have an audition tomorrow and I'm going to be, you know, I have to work at probably 45 minutes after my audition. Like, what if they run over? Is that going to be enough time? And Aaron spoke to us. He said, well, you know what? Actually, I think that when it comes to a job in this industry, you're going to want to go for something that you can test the limits of. In other words, you're going to want to have a day job that you can kind of say, hey, I might not be able to show up, and you're going to have to be fine with it. So if that's not the case for you, you kind of need to get that. You kind of need to be in a position where you're willing to be fired for it. And I was like, wow, even though I knew that, and I'm very lucky now, I'm very blessed that, as I spoke about on my last podcast, I'm in a job now that they're very understanding of the audition world and that it could come up last minute and that I might have to dip for a certain amount of time. And they're just kind of like, well, you know, you work hard, just come back. It's fine. But there's so many people out there with jobs that that's not the case for them. And so, I don't know, I want to encourage people that if you're looking for a job, like, try to look for a job that you can, you know, work hard at, but that you can say to them, like, sorry, I might have to be gone for this amount of time. Flexibility is the number one important thing. Either flexibility or being able to have someone who's your boss who understands where you're coming from when you have to leave to audition. So anyway, when he said that, just reminded me how little control we have as actors over our schedule, over our own time. A lot of people can't live their life like that. It's a gift for the actors to have to either have or learn. So in that sense, it's good that I kind of have this type B personality at times where I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. If it goes 2 hours over, it goes 2 hours over. On the other hand, that's not ideal. That's not great because people are trying to live their lives. And for the guy in my class that that was telling this story, he has kids too. So it's like, you know, he has to kind of know his schedule somewhat to be like, I have to pick up them from daycare or whatever it might be. So it is a little bit discouraging at times. But anyway, why am I talking about this? Well, I've come up with, or I've kind of heard and sort of been mulling on this idea of progress over perfection. Because oftentimes I want the control, I want things to go perfectly. I don't want to wait 2 hours at an audition. Actually, to be completely real with you, if I waited 2 hours for an audition right now, I'd be so happy just because I'd be at an audition. But regardless, I mean that in the broader sense of it. I want to, for example, control right now when I get an agent, how many auditions I have. I would love to be auditioning for work. I would love to be out there doing my thing. But I actually heard a sermon recently where the pastor kind of said, he said, you know, that this shows up a lot in the Bible. And he said, the right thing at the wrong time can be a curse. I was like, what? That's so good. The right thing, even if it's the right thing. Like for me, I want to be an actor. I gotta stop saying that. I am an actor. I want to be regularly auditioning. I want to have an agent who believes in me. I want to be booking. But the right thing, my talent, my time, my energy at the wrong time, currently where I'm at, would be a curse. And I think the more that I have sort of allowed that to resonate with me, the more confident I've become, because I've realized that if it's not my time right now, my time is coming. So even though it feels a bit discouraging, why am I not getting out there the way that I want to? That my time is still coming. And as I spoke about last week, I think that the best way to sort of combat discouragement is through action, and it is through just doing the work. I also wanted to point out, I think last week, maybe the way that I phrased it, I said, well, I am an actor because I am in a show. I wanted to clarify, if you're not in a show and you're an actor and you're not doing anything on set or you're not working on a short film, I just wanted to be clear, that's not to say you're not an actor. What I'm saying is, if you're discouraged about where you're at with your acting or any of your artistry, with your writing, with your music, with anything, if you're discouraged about that, the best way to combat that is to just do it. So for me right now, that currently looks like I'm in a show. But for you, it might look like I write one scene. I just write one scene. It's gonna suck. It's fine. I write one verse, one chorus of a song. I pick up my guitar. I make a cover song. I, paint something that I see today. I go out and I do some photography. When my friend and I started thinking about creating videography and doing music videos, we just went out and we just filmed stuff. We just tried to get some artsy shots. We tried to play with the settings on our cameras. We weren't actually out there with the goal of accomplishing anything. We just wanted to be creative. And I think a lot of artists, we actually get starved and discouraged when we're not creating because it's our gift. One of my friends called me yesterday just being like, Janessa, I am starving. I am literally starving. I don't care what we do. I don't care how we do it. But when she's not actually in the area right now, but she's like, when I get to Vancouver, we got to do something. I don't even care what it is. Because we're starving. If we're not doing what we love, it's really tricky. So the way to combat discouragement is just to get out and do whatever your gift is. That's what I meant. I don't mean that you have to be successful in anybody else's eyes other than yourself. So if you're out there, if you're an actor and you want to act and you're not getting in the room and you're not in a show, take a class and do a scene. If you can't afford to do class, get your friend with an iPhone to come over and film you doing something. Collaborate on something. If you can't do any of those things and you feel awkward reaching out to someone, go online, grab a monologue, learn a monologue. Learn a Shakespeare monologue. Learn a musical theater song. Learn something that keeps you stimulated. Create your own work, sure, or just go off of somebody else's work and just get that in your system for a little bit. It doesn't have to be that you're in something in order to be creative. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to clarify that because I felt like last week I knew what I was thinking, but I didn't know if it was conveyed properly because I really don't want anyone to be like, well, I'm not in a show, so I can't be an actor. Or I'm not in this or that, so I'm not doing well. No, it's nothing to do with achievement. It's everything to do with action and doing the actual art. Actually getting out and just trying something, anything, even if it sucks. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, which is why I was in class yesterday. And again, I never want to be in a position where I am telling anybody what to do. This is just what's been working for me as I am struggling along. And trust me when I say it is a struggle. I've not mastered anything, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Because I think what we're so scared of is trying and then failing, but you're gonna have to fail in order to try, and you're gonna have to fail in order to succeed. So progress, making a step forward, is actually more important than being the perfect actor. And then the thing about art, guys, is it's so subjective anyway. What even is perfect? I'll give you an example. I just did something called the Artist to Artist Showcase. And it's something that happens in Vancouver, and two lovely casting directors, you submit a video. I think I talked about this last week, but you submit a video of your work, a scene of your choice, and they look at it and they kind of give you some feedback in terms of, one column is what you're doing well and another column is what you can improve on. Great. So for me, I am desperate and happy to be judged at this point, because I just want to know, like, what can I be working on? Because that gives me something practical, something tangible that I can be doing. Okay, well, I got my feedback. And like, in one of the columns, one of the casting directors was like, "You're so confident, you do a really great job listening, and the stakes were really high. I think you could just use some work on your voice." What else is new? I talk a lot, I talk loud. In film, they really want a good, like, whisper, something like this. That's how they like to talk in film. That's not me. I come from theater, okay? Like, I come from, and even, let's be clear, okay? Even before I did theater, when I was in first year of university, I was awarded the Loudest Talker Award, okay? So, I have a boomy voice, okay? Sue me, all right? It's fine. So, I do the I do the showcase, and then yeah, one of them said that and said, okay, like, you can improve on, you know, some vocal dynamic of bringing it down into whatever. Sure, great. The next guy says, your voice is great. I love whatever, like this I can't even remember what it was, but his critique was, I think you could use some work on stakes and confidence. It's like, okay, so which is it, guys? Because for one of you, I'm really confident. You really think that my stakes were at the right place. On the other hand, the other person says, oh, you could work on your, you know, you could work on your stakes and your confidence, but your voice is great. It's like, which is it? So all that to say, it's a little bit subjective, and both of them actually gave me really positive feedback, said I did a really good job, that it was really great work. And so that just kind of shows you again how little, again, is in your control, because you think that something is one way, and for that casting director it might be, but then the other one it might be something else. And really all we can do is, like, we can't control that. So all we can do is our best, and all we can do is keep showing up and keep working on all the things, you know, and not taking every little thing so personally, so literally. I actually would love to do a podcast that's just about taking feedback, because I think that's a really important subject that whether you're an actor or whether you're an artist of another kind, the people that you allow to speak into your art and into your creative process, you have to be very diligent about who you let say things and who you don't. Because I think when we're being creative, we open up a part of ourselves into the art, whether it's even, you know, an art installation or it's myself working in a scene. There's a part of Janessa that's really truly in that scene. And yes, it's a character, but there is a part of yourself. And so you have to be careful who you let speak into that, because it has to be about the work and not about like ego and stuff like that. So it's kind of a tricky line to navigate. But what I'm basically wanting to get at for this time is just like, if you're out there and you're putting a step forward and you have progress, that is much more important than being like perfect. Like, oh, I killed the scene. No one can do it better than me. You're never going to hear that, because everybody who does a scene, like even for myself, I did a scene. If somebody else came who is also a tall blonde and did that scene, their take would be very different. Some things even I would watch that she does and I would think, oh, I like that better. Or, oh, I would never make that choice. And that's the subjectivity of art, that you're going to have different people across the board because they're bringing themselves to the piece. So you can't be perfect. Like, it's just not going to happen. You have to be okay with the fact that actually it's about moving in a direction, the direction of forwardness, rather than it being about, I'm so good. That is also something that I want to speak over us as like a really positive thing to kind of keep our self-worth and our humility in check. I think it's really easy for actors to have inflated or really below the bar ego, because it's like we're just so much invested in what we're doing, and every choice can at some level feel personal. That's why I want to do an entire thing about taking feedback, because I think it is really connected to that. But it's actually like interesting. This past week, I was supposed to be off book. I'm just thinking right now of my friend who has a t-shirt that says off book is a lie. Kind of is, not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. See what I just did there? Didn't even know it. But the point is, off book, you are supposed to be totally memorized, and then guess what? You change a bunch of things. Where you're walking is different. Now we're doing this intention on this line instead. Suddenly the words are like, where'd they go? I don't know where they are. Well, I just had to be off book for Act 1 and then the following week Act 2, and it was a grind, you guys, because not only am I dealing with a lot of dialogue, because I'm in many of the scenes, but also it's a British dialect. So there's cadence, there's flow of the language that I'm not used to. Like, I'm really not used to it. Jacqueline and Kieran, who were here a couple weeks ago, when they were doing their, like, just speaking in their Irish dialect, they say things that we would just never say. Like, they say, like, Jacqueline says, oh, when I was minding the kids. What does that mean? Like, for us, it's like, well, we were taking care of them, or we were maybe babysitting or nannying, like we were bringing the kids out to hang out or play, or I was watching over them. We don't say minding them, but that's like totally normal. That's what you would say in Ireland. Well, it's the same with British dialect. There's so many words, so many things that you would say. It's the difference between, I don't know why you have to say can and can't. I don't know why I can't say, and see, someone's going to make fun of me pretty quickly here, but I'm not claiming to be good at this dialect. I will start with that, but it's like that you kind of have to really get into the language of it, and it's the way that you would even stop a sentence is so different than how you would stop a sentence in not just English, but in like a North American accent, but not even North American, but Canadian. The way that I speak is going to be very different from the way that somebody speaks over in England. And even this is not even necessarily an English accent. It's, or an accent, I don't even know. But it's supposed to be then RP, received pronunciation, is pronunciation is supposed to be even different from that, from a normal sort of accent that you might find. So anyway, that keeping in mind, I'm not warmed up, okay, everybody, just calm down. But the point is, with that work that I'm doing as well, it's very sort of straining and interesting on your voice and what you're doing, and you have to remember all this stuff. So it was after, I want to say, the first day of off book that I was walking away with one of my cast members, and he had been, our stage manager was away that day, and he had been on book for me, and I'm just like, oh, I don't even know. It's like, I don't even have anything memorized. Everything sucks, and I'm not very good, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I was just ranting to him, going off. And he's like, Janessa, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, first of all, people called line who only had one scene. You're in pretty much the whole play, and you were pretty close to being word perfect. So, like, you gotta kind of give yourself a bit more credit than you're giving yourself. And I don't know why I was in this, like, this train of emotion of like, no, it'll never work, blah, 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 blah. Like, just kind of like this anxiety-ridden, like, frustration because I didn't get it perfect. Oh no, Janessa, what are you gonna do? You're a human? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so interesting. Like, my mental space was so hard on myself. Mind you, I said mind you, but mind you, I was brought into the process last minute because I was replacing another actress who was supposed to do it but had to drop out of the show last minute. I auditioned. Within a week, I found out I was doing it. We started rehearsals. We started 4 rehearsals earlier than we were supposed to in the original schedule. So that meant that the off-book date moved up by 4 rehearsals. That meant everything kind of moved up by 4 rehearsals. So really, they were like, honestly, Janessa, like, you're doing great. Like, you're fine. Like, you're actually doing okay. And because I'm not perfect, because I'm not, like, fully memorized and ready to go, I'm, like, really hard on myself. Like, oh, I can't believe that I'm, like, letting everyone down. But then it's just like, okay, how does that really help us? Like, what is really going on at that moment? It's like, that's insecurity, and that's talk of like, oh, I failed. Like, oh, it's over for me. Like, because for some reason, when we think failure, we don't think of a new door opening. We think that means that everything's going to shut on us. And I just had to take a second when my friend is like speaking kind of life over me, like, Janessa, like, give yourself some credit, okay? It's gonna be fine. And then I just started to realize, wow, that's actually ridiculous. Like, why am I in this headspace in the first place? Like, why don't I just think, okay, I know more today than I knew yesterday. And now I know what I need to work on for future rehearsals. No one, I'll tell you right now, no one in the room was mad at me. I was mad at me. I was mad at me because I feel like I have my expectation way up here. And if I'm not at this place, I'm upset. It's the same thing when you take classes or intensives, you know, you'll work really hard. And I'm sure a lot of us have done that. We go to these things with other artists who are our peers who are doing the same kind of work as us. And we automatically are comparing, like, we're sort of calibrating where we're at within that group. And, you know, it's so funny because everyone will always inevitably walk away thinking somebody else did better than them. Like, the best person in the class is probably going, man, I just wish that I hadn't done, like, that I hadn't failed so hard in these areas. And yet everybody else is going, what are you talking about? Like, I remember going to a film class and a couple of the people were just like, I just am so discouraged because I just feel like I can't blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't even remember what they said, but they were discouraged about something. And we were like, say what? Are you kidding? You just, like, annihilated that scene. Like, we were all so with you. It was so gripping. We were excited about it. But an actor, like, and probably a lot of artists, they're never satisfied with their work. You know what I mean? Like, we're always like, oh, it just wasn't perfect. I didn't get it the first time. And it's really not conducive because it doesn't help you learn. And the thing is, if you're perfect, you have nothing to learn. You have nowhere to grow. And you have nowhere to go to. You have nothing to move into. It's just not, it's not great because it doesn't, yeah, you don't get to go forward. You just kind of are stuck and you plateau because you're already perfect. So it's great. You don't have anything to learn. And that's just not, that's not art. You know what I mean? So yeah, the only way that I felt like I could move forward when I found art and I realized all of this was that vulnerability, this is very Brene Brown, by the way, and if you don't know who Brene Brown is, you gotta read her stuff and listen to her stuff on YouTube, her TED Talks. But you have to be vulnerable in order to be strong. It's just how it is. The strongest people understand that using your emotions and your feelings can actually drive empathy, and it can actually drive connection between humans. And being someone who's perfect all the time does not drive connection. And art is based upon the idea of connecting humans together. That's what art does. That's how we can connect with each other is by being heard and speaking things out and speaking our experiences and things like that. So especially as an actor, I am entirely bound to the idea of empathizing with whoever I'm playing. If I'm a character, I can't judge them. It's not how it works. I can't be like playing the bad guy in a show. I'm the bad guy. Duh. Anyway, whatever. I can't be the bad guy and then go, you know what, actually, I'm going to just judge this character the whole time. It's not going to read. It's not going to look truthful. So I actually have to find a part of myself that understands the motivations for doing the actions I do in the script. And it's hard to do sometimes, but like that's what empathy does. Like you have to recognize that we're human and that there's something about us that we're all connected in that way. Just by virtue of being one of God's creation. That we've all kind of, gone through it. So yeah, it's really interesting, like, to have to open up and be vulnerable, but you can't get to that place if you're judging yourself, if you're judging that person, if you're judging your castmates. Yeah, and most of it is really, truly, it is judging yourself because you're like, I can't allow myself to call for line. I can't allow myself to go to that emotional place. And for myself, a lot of it was habitual. I was used to it. I was used to, if somebody came to me crying, oh, Janessa, like this thing happened, I figure it out. That's like, it was almost like a machine. It was a reflex. But what I started to realize is it's not my job to actually fix something for somebody else. In an emergency situation, of course, like Janessa, I need to go to the hospital. I can keep it together and make that happen. But oftentimes if we're talking like an emotional thing, the best thing to do is to listen and just cry with someone else. It's not to stand outside of the deep depressive hole that someone's in and go, how's it going down there? I've got it figured out. It's actually to be like, okay, I'm going to take the time and the energy to climb down into this hole with you. And not to say to, if somebody's in a place where they're speaking a lot of lies over themselves, not to participate in that, not to engage in those kinds of things, but just to really empathize and get into the muck of the whole situation and just say, I'm actually with you, and like maybe I don't understand exactly what you're going through, but I want to. By just listening and just being here and not judging it. So that's what I have to do with my characters, and you can't be perfect. You just can't. So for me, it's a double meaning because with me, progress over perfection. It's like I'm starting to get to the point of I would rather actually go out and make an effort and fail and not do well. But at least I tried it, and now I know what to do better the next time, than just sit back and be like, oh, like, I'm just like, I'm not going to do that because I can't do it well. This podcast is a perfect example. I don't have the best equipment, y'all. I don't. Look at me. I am with a cup with some shoddy lighting in my bedroom. Okay, let's be clear. I do not have all this equipment. I'm not at the Red Table Talk. You know what I mean? Like I'm not at like Kevin Hart's like podcast with like this great equipment with all his friends around. That's not where I'm at, but I'm not going to not do a podcast because I don't have the best equipment. I'm going to do what I can speak what I know, try to encourage other people, and just see where it goes. At least I'm out here. At least I'm doing it. At least I'm trying. Maybe it's not the best. Well, oh well, I'm here. You know what I mean? Progress. It's not perfect, but I'm progressing. And then the second part of it is really that I am learning in my acting that the more I can let go of control, the better my acting becomes. And that one, I'm still really struggling with that. It's going to be a long distance run for me to let go. But I'm getting there. You know, every time I do a class, every time I do a workshop, every time I submit something, I'm letting go. And I'm trying. I'm just trying. And it's hard because it's not always going to be successful. This weekend, I wanted to let everybody know so that everyone can keep me accountable. This weekend, I am resubmitting for a bunch of agencies. And it's tricky because last time I didn't get the result I wanted. And this time, I'm submitting for a lot of different agencies, but probably some of them are going to be the same. And I'm going to have new material, new stuff going on. But I'm going to try. And you know what? After, if nobody responds in another month, I'll try again. You can't stop me, okay? The fire keeps on going because I'm ready to progress rather than be perfect. I know you don't have to tell me twice I have a lot to work on. Totally get it. Understood. It's actually my plan. It's actually my plan that I will continue to grow and keep working on my craft for my lifetime. Like, it's not over. However, I want to progress. I want to keep going. I want to start getting out there. I want to audition. So we'll see, you know? Pray about it if you think of me, but we'll see. I'm going to keep getting out there, keep trying. But I'm focused on the progress of my acting, of my scene work, of my life, rather than trying to be perfect, because I don't think that gets us anywhere. Like, for sure not mentally, but also I just think in general it doesn't get us anywhere to try to be perfect. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I just want to say one other thing about acting. I am so, because I got to audit this class last night and I got to watch actors. Oh my gosh, I love watching actors. And you have to understand that audiences are with you. We feel satisfaction and excitement and like, yes, when you let yourself not have control. So I'm saying that because I think maybe somebody might need to hear that we're, as the audience, we're out here not to judge you, but to go with you. Like, we showed up to the theater, we showed up to the movie, we showed up to the class. We want to see you succeed. And I think that casting wants to see us succeed too. We're out here because we want to like catch you when you fall. When you cry on stage or on screen and you let yourself just get to the point of frustration, or when you laugh, or when you get overexcited, or whatever it might be that's like feels vulnerable in the scene, when you actually allow yourself to be seen, and when I as an audience member see you, I'm just so blessed by that. Like, I'm so excited about it. And I know it's scary, but it's really giving me a gift. And I think about that because for myself, when I'm up there and it's scary for me, I know that as I cry, I'm allowing somebody else to know that it's okay for themselves to cry. I know that as I get excited, I'm speaking that somebody else can have that life in their personal life, that they can be excited about what they're excited about, or whatever it is. It's a freedom building thing. And as an actor, I'm just so excited when I see other actors really go for it. So I just wanted to say that because I think it's cool that we can actually encourage each other. And if you're somebody who's been scared to get to that next sort of step and be vulnerable, like, I just want you to know I'm cheering you on. and that I love you. And it's the same for artists who are in other mediums. Like when you like let yourself be seen in your music, in your visual art, in your photography, and whatever, in your filmmaking, whatever it is, in your advertising, whatever is like the thing you want to do, your business, your sport, when you go for it, it says to me, I can go for it too. So it's a very encouraging, very exciting thing. And we're not here to laugh at you. You know what I mean? And when you're not perfect, then we don't have to be perfect either. And it's just a very good reciprocal relationship for us all. So I will be the first to say that I struggle with that, and I struggle with letting go of control. But I'm working on it. And it's progress. And I'm better today than I was back then. I remember in high school and stuff, like I couldn't even cry for a couple of years because I just had so much pent up inside. Like I wouldn't allow myself to cry. Like I didn't even feel the urge because it was just like so shut off. And then I started going to like classes and stuff for acting, and it is kind of like a psychology thing that way. Like we do all this breath work and we do all this like emotional exercises, but like all of a sudden stuff got unlocked, and I feel like I'm a much better friend and person and artist because even though it's not perfect, I'm still in the process of it. I'm opening up and I'm allowing myself to be seen. And my gosh, when you finally do, and I'm sort of speaking that to myself really, when I finally do, you guys aren't even gonna know like what hit you. When I finally don't have to rely on my left brain and controlling everything and just making sure it's perfect. When I just finally let you guys see me for what it is in the scene work, in the stuff I do, holy crap, that's dynamite. So let's do it, guys. Let's be encouraged. Let's go out there and fail. You know what I mean? Because then it's like we're doing the thing. We're doing the art. Anyway, progress over perfection is my new thing. I'm excited about it. Of course, my thing will always be don't quit your daydream because, like, to me, I just think this is a gift you have. Let's use it. Let's let it suck right now. It's going to suck at first, and then it gets better. Why? Because you progress, because you learn. When I was in first year university to fourth year university, holy Toledo, very different story. Maybe I was good. Maybe I had the raw talent in first year, but I didn't have the skill to back it up. Now, it's the same thing. I'm developing these muscles. I'm getting more skilled. It's coming together. I'm just saying. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week. Make sure you get some green tea in your system. It has a lot of health benefits. And don't have too much pumpkin spice because that stuff it'll drown you out, even though it's addictive. I feel that. Okay, yeah, some of you are like, I don't like pumpkin spice. Whatever. You're not human. It's fine. But for the people who like a good cuppa, have a great drink and have a great day. Okay, cheers. Love you. Bye.